2012, why knowledge is no evidence of self-transformation. The masters, gurus, angels, and all those that claim greatness that has been visiting the earth, trying to mislead the people of the earth to a higher energy, a greater feeling, a higher vibration, so that they do not take responsibility for what is here as earth, has always used knowledge as its tool. This knowledge is accumulated in the mind and never become part of the physical, except in how the systems on earth is created to keep the physical trapped in cycles of the seeking of happiness, seeking of bliss, seeking of love, all invisible forces with no evidence of reality except the polarity of it that shows between the good feeling and the bad feeling to create the illusion of reality. These illusions, you'll find, has captivated the mind consciousness system, which is the birthplace of the ego, extensively, where humans will spend all their time creating what they would call the soul, which is just an energetic ego or personality with which they can then live in this world and make of reality with the suffering, the starvation, the extinction, everything that's happening on earth, can make it off as cannon fodder in the journey to greatness, where you will then enter a higher place after death and get your reward for having remained truth to the knowledge that, in fact, was only an illusion distracting you from reality. You'll find that this theme of knowledge, presented in ways of love and light, follows through all the masters, gurus, angels, channels, mediums that has been on earth. They have all acted according to them on the commands of a higher force or God or divinity. The fascinating thing is that all the evidence is here to show how knowledge should be functioning. When a child is born, the child is taught a language. That language is knowledge. Unless the child integrate that language as knowledge into the physical, the child will never speak. So the child is not born with a language. So everything that we teach the human is what the human will become. And this knowledge is based on so-called higher forces, holy messages, all kinds of things that distract completely from the lifetime that is here on earth. The point of being on earth is obviously to take dominion of earth and act in ways that is best for all. I mean, that is the benevolent way to look at it, the divine way to look at it, and to live it. If one is not doing that, you are in an illusion, and that illusion will deny the evidence of the physical that exists on earth and claim that the physical evidence is temporary and an illusion, while the knowledge in the head, in the mind, is the real thing. That is why they use an interesting thing which is very deceptive. As above, so below, which is then interpreted as above being heaven and so below being earth, and that implies that heaven being invisible would then have to be the same on earth, invisible, which then plays below as the mind. But in fact, as above means the mind, so below means the physical, and ever since the mind has been imprinted on the physical, earth has turned into a hell and the humans into devils. And therefore, many of the religions will claim that the earth is the place of Satan. But who lives on earth? Satan dwells on the earth. Who's that but the human? The human that has taken the message, the knowledge of the heavens, which is the knowledge of the mind, which happens in ways of backchat, which happen in ways of transference from family through from the previous generation to the next, up to 7 generations. It happens through the education system, the religious system, the monetary systems, where one learns ways of deception. And there is not a single human on earth that do not participate daily in deception, where you will look at another person and you will have a fake smile while in your head there is a voice which you call your thoughts that will say something judgmental or something loving about the person, trying to convince you that somehow you're better than the person that you're looking at, or the condition on earth that you're looking at. I mean, it's fascinating, because if we have to look at the evidence on earth, it shows very clearly that life as a physical form that breathes and eats and moves comes from darkness. Yet we fear the darkness, but the darkness is the actual place where we all come from. It is dark. You can check this out with a simple exercise. When you close your eyes, you should have darkness. You'll notice a fascinating thing. The thoughts that appear in your mind are all of the light. That gives you the evidence of what the light really is all about. It is evil stuff that happens in the minds of men in secret. And that evil stuff becomes the as above that imprints on the below, and you then have a consequence. Many call it karma. There's going to be a consequence for what you have created. And the consequence we have created is evidenced through our governments, our religious systems, our world system, our economic system, where half the world is in peril. And yet, those that claim to be the mightiest amongst us with the highest level of vibrations are blind to this and do nothing to change the physical world, because they believe the only change necessary is of energy, of the mind, of vibration. And for them, the only evidence they need is that they can feel it. But they've created the feeling. You've created the feeling in your body. Your body is the prisoner which you use to generate the energy so that you can feel good. It is quite an achievement, isn't it? To create the ultimate illusion within which you can hide and laugh and scoff at those that dare to question your reality. With proof and evidence, as we do with destiny. Yet, you'll have those that laugh at it. Now, there is only 2 ways out of your illusion. We have explained this. If you dare to follow the message of destiny and the interviews, we took extensive time to find ways to present to you that there is only 2 ways out of the illusion on earth. The one is death. And because you're in the mind, you cannot get out of the body to the other side to see what's real. You only move in dimensions within your body. And then you create an illusion that you believe to be the afterlife, without actually cross-referencing and checking that what you're busy with is in fact reality. And remember, as above, so below, in fact works like that. So you have evidence on earth of what's going on in heaven. A complete mess. The other way that one can get out of it, there is only one thing that the deceivers that created the mind consciousness system to entrap you, could not create or change or transform into a deceptive tool with which to keep you entertained. And that is the point of equality and oneness as what is best for all. The singular point is the only door that they could not shut for you. Every other door, every other point of knowledge, every other thing that exists in the whole universe is designed to deceive you. You must be able to grasp what we are saying. We are not attacking what you believe, because what you believe is an illusion anyway. Death will wipe it out in one breath. One singular breath is more powerful than everything you could ever believe, ever achieve, ever be. One singular physical breath. The evidence of that is in the graveyards. And then the stupidity of people believing that you leave a legacy in the written words you leave behind to deceive your children into the same bullshit that you conjured up magically. And it is magic in the mind. I mean, that's why in the mind you can come up with any form of magic, and it looks wonderful, and you can make yourself feel how wonderful it is, and you can live in that bliss. It is useless to try anything, because simple mathematics, the physical is your evidence, will show to you that it is impossible, it is useless to try and find an answer to the problems on earth unless you include all life in ways that is best for all. Anything else means that you are creating karma, and you will end up in the opposite consequence of what you're allowing and what you're accepting. And one door had to be created, and that's why we created it, is destiny. A way to get there. At the end of the day, with the tools that bring about equality and oneness, and then the living proof of what is best for all, which is a system of equality, which goes through several steps. Basic income grant, equal money, and then eventually divinity. Does that mean you're going to live forever and eternally in your physical body? No, I mean that is just one form of expression. But everything in the universe is now, that's ever been, is now on earth, in some form, in the physical, walking the same process as you. You are not necessarily walking the process here as destiny. You're walking it as destiny. The destiny of the universe. Inevitably, if you cannot face a Destonian as an equal, know one thing: you will not get out of the illusion, and death will be the final answer. What happens at death is that everything you have ever acquired and accumulated as knowledge is wiped out in one single breath. And everything else that you have accumulated on earth is wiped out. You end up 6 feet under the earth in the 666. Back to the earth, and the beast has won. This is time of revelation. This is time of humility. This is the time to wake up. We have designed Desteniiprocess, and there will be more parts to it, which include relationship training, agreement training, how to have a proper relationship, who you should be as a parent before you have children, the subconscious, the unconscious, and the conscious mind, and how you create your reality, where we will prove to you that you've created you and parts of you in less than 3 seconds. when you were a child. Imagine that. And then the equal money system, a system specifically to challenge the knowledge that we have placed value in, like capitalism, consumerism, spiritualism. It is necessary to consider that the evidence shows that everything ever taught as knowledge on earth has in fact been false. And that was done deliberately, and that change without help is impossible. We have proven this to the Destonians over the years. It's a very long process because it's very difficult to even conceive that one could have been so screwed that there is no way out. We have proven it by bringing people to the farm to show through time how screwed up they are and why it is that they cannot change, no matter what their intent, no matter what their goodwill, no matter how much they've tried. The same thing repeats, and it takes them deeper into it, and it becomes completely useless. It's like a form of despair that is not measurable. It's a blanket that enfolds, like the darkness that awaits a death. And many, through self-honesty, has managed to drive themselves to follow a process of self-change, self-transformation, through self-honesty and self-forgiveness, with mathematical common sense, through the equality equation, to base all actions on an outcome that is best for all, which is the nature of the equality equation. It is not necessarily any formula. The formula in itself is that one measure and accumulate through the feedback and the evidence you get in application, everything in a way that is best for all. So, for instance, if we take the labor system in an equal money system, there is estimations of the time it will take that each person will have to dedicate their life in labor to their neighbor to bring about a life where we are all free to express ourselves in every way possible. We estimate 4 to 6 years. That is not a calculable possibility. We cannot calculate it specifically exact beforehand until we actually do it and we accumulate the result through the equality equation till we get to the answer, the result that is best for all. I mean, that's common sense. That is so with everything. We are not using knowledge and say 4 to 6 years. We are saying that's the estimation. And through the participation, we will accumulate through our actions the actuality of the living reality. That is real knowledge. Then we'll have a system established based on the evidence of our results of our application, showing that a group is more powerful than an individual. Can you believe it? That is even questioned. One can't be that stupid, can you? But some really actually want this whole idea of individualism be the answer. It is impossible. The greatest form of expression on an individual level is when you are free to express in ways where you do not build up karma. That means you do nothing to harm others, so you don't have to fear your future because you're going to have to repay what you have done. And if one do that in a group where all act in ways not to harm each other, now we have complete freedom as an individual. That is the greatest freedom any individual can ever achieve. The freedom from consequence. That's real freedom. There is no other freedom possible because everything else has got a consequence. By virtue of being born on earth, there is a consequence. You are going to die. That is the only consequence that is certain. Everything else between life, birth and death, one can change. That is the point of being here, is to actualize real change that is measurable, that consider everyone that's here in every form. If one don't do that, you are living backwards, and then you are evil, because live backwards is evil. If you live backwards, you then the evil. There's no other Satan or the devil. There is only those that either work towards what's best for all, or live it when it's done. Obviously, that's how we'll live. For the moment, it doesn't exist. Equality and oneness, there is no such thing yet. It only exists in a process of application at the moment. It does not exist as actual equality. So no one can claim equality, because it doesn't exist yet. We are busy creating it. Inevitably, we're going to be forced to it, because the end has already come. All you are now living is the past that you've already created, busy playing out into the future. Inevitably, have a look at the world, the present time now, everything is busy collapsing. The stability is coming from the past, from your savings, from your property, from all the things you have vested your investments in to protect you from the consequence of your application and your allowances and your deeds and your applications. And unfortunately, that is going to run out, just like a death. When your breath runs out, that which you currently use to give your life, which is not breath, which is a system of abuse where it works like a gigantic casino. Only some hit the jackpot in a lifetime, and the rest are cannon fodder. You must be able to see this. But yet, you cannot hear what destiny is saying, because the first part of the process is to get here as earth, to earth the energy that you are, because you've created yourself as energy in the mind, and therefore you're not in your body, so you cannot see reality. You only see your reality, and that is not reality, because you are the musician that conjured it up. You're making it by your rules. You are the God that speaks to you in your mind. And some of these gods, these backchat gods, are real evil, that speak things about other people like kill them, harm them, rape them, fuck it. Real evil. You've created this. To stop this, you have to come to earth. And therefore, the second coming is the coming to earth. And on earth, you earth the energy. The energy is electricity. You earth it, so that you can rebirth yourself into a physical being that's best for all. And because you are not here on earth, you cannot hear the destiny message, because the destiny message is directly the foundation, the totality of the process on earth, on why earth exists, why we are here, what is the real truth, what is best for all, what is actual divinity, everything you could ever wish for in one package. But it's not going to be easy, because your mind is going to resist this, and you have become your mind, so you're going to resist it and say, no, it's impossible. My feelings is true, my intuition, but it's all energy. It's not true. You've been trained that, you've been deceived in every way. Every voice you've ever heard, deception. Therefore my voice is like something that scratch at the very veneer of your illusion. It scratch at the image which you have built on your likenesses, and therefore you have no true image and likeness of what is best for all. You have only your likeness, self-interest, and you've created the image of yourself in that, and now it's mirrored as the total world system. And you cannot find your way out, because if you lift your right hand, a left hand lifts and the polarity in the mirror meets you equal and you're stuck. So therefore, the first step to get to hear me, to hear what is the real truth here on earth so that you can get here, is to learn how to breathe and how to write yourself to freedom and how to do self-forgiveness with self-honesty. These things take time because earth is a time-based reality, night and day, not the one on the arm where you have to watch it. It's breath-based. We have forums with buddies to support you for free. You have no excuse. When you die, it's too late. You have two possible ways out of the illusion. Equality and oneness, in a way that's best for all, and death. Which one will you choose? Join us. This may be the last time you get a call to reality. 2012, why knowledge is no evidence of self-transformation. The masters, gurus, angels, and all those that claim greatness that has been visiting the earth, trying to mislead the people of the earth to a higher energy, a greater feeling, good feeling and the bad feeling, to create the illusion of reality. These illusions, you'll find, has captivated the mind consciousness system, which is the birthplace of the ego, extensively, where humans will spend all their time creating what they would call the soul, which is just an energetic ego or personality with which they can then live in this world and make of reality with the suffering, the starvation, the extinction, everything that's happening on earth, can make it off as cannon fodder in the journey to greatness, where you will then enter a higher place after death and get your reward for having remained truth to the knowledge that in fact was only an illusion distracting you from reality. You'll find that this theme of knowledge, presented in ways of love and light, follows through all the masters, gurus, angels, channels, mediums that has been on earth. They have all acted a higher vibration so that they do not take responsibility for what is here as earth, has always used knowledge as its tool. This knowledge is accumulated in the mind and never become part of the physical, except in how the systems on earth is created to keep the physical trapped in cycles of the seeking of happiness, seeking of bliss, seeking of love, all invisible forces with no evidence of reality except the polarity of it that shows between the, according to them, on the commands of a higher force or God or divinity. The fascinating thing is that all the evidence is here to show how knowledge should be functioning. When a child is born, the child is taught a language. That language is knowledge. Unless the child integrates that language as knowledge into the physical, the child will never speak. So the child is not born with a language. So everything that we teach the human is what the human will become. And this knowledge is based on so-called higher forces, holy messages, all kinds of things that distract completely from